it. But I can hear Christ saying to King David, let your secrets die here. You shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. You shall let your secrets die, and its death shall set you free. And here's a secret. Here's a little secret about your secrets. Here's a little secret about your secrets. Your secrets are letting you know today that you tried to bury us, but you didn't know we were seeds. Your secrets are telling you today that you tried to bury us. You were content with the cover-up, but you didn't know we were seeds. David's family, Pastor Dangerville, needed some time at the family table. You see, I want to share with you one of these heartbreaking stories about a family that went through heartbreak. More than just what you see in the Bible, but here today. Now, this family, I was watching TV one day and I was watching this show, and this particular show was telling the real story of heartbreaking families. And listen to this story. Family of 5. How many people, church? 5 people. Mother was on drugs from the time all of her kids were young. And all of their kids, except for one of them, went to the foster home. Understand that in the foster home, they met the enemy. They felt like Satan was right there in the foster home with them. Now, one of them, let's just tell you about the first son. The first son was labeled gay. And the first family that he was in was a foster family that was Christian. And that was the only time he experienced love. But here's the thing. The Christian family said, well, you're gay, so we don't want you to stay here anymore. So the place that they received love was no longer for them. That led a life of abuse and attacks. How about this one? The youngest daughter. The youngest daughter said that when the interviewer had asked her, when did you lose your voice? She said, a long time ago. This family, you see here, they had to basically abuse each other in order to eat. One of the brothers said, you know what? There was months where I only had 2 pieces of bread and some water. Another brother ended up 14 years in jail. And I hope you see where I'm going with it, all because of secrets and all because of dysfunction. But one of them thought to themselves, wait a second, the 4 of us, we're in the foster home, we should be all right. There was one daughter that got to stay with grandma. They called her Princess. But here's the thing. They found out that, quote unquote, this princess also got abused with her family of origin. This family needed a seat at the family table. You see, this family needed the power of Jesus. This family, just like us, needed therapy. This family needed the seat at the family table, the power of the family table, through Black history, through our family's history, and through life's history. Not only to air out differences, but also to talk about what happened. And so today, as we talk about welcome to the family table, Many of us, the only thing that we want to do is sit and eat at the family table. But today I want to talk about 4 steps on how our families can get better. How many steps, church?
4 steps.
4 steps. Now, when you talk about the family table, there are 4 steps that you have to remember. The first step is, Pastor Lindsay and Pastor Dangerville, the first step is to put everything on the table. Put everything on the table. And so when you look at your families, this gift represents the fathers that tried not to give love, but they tried to give gifts in order to keep you quiet.
Oh, jeez.
When we talk about the family table, this rose represents the children that felt like you chose your boyfriend or your girlfriend over me. Understand that this plaque represents families where you never told your children that you loved them. What you did was, we're only going to give you props when you get the hundreds on your test. Other than that, why do you need to hear anything else? Also, as we're looking inside this bag and understand that the table is getting crowded. The table is getting crowded. Not to mention this scale. Some people grew up with moms and fathers that all they talked about was their weight. This has to be talked about at the family table. Not to mention as we keep on going, because there is more. There is more. How about this one? I got the N95 mask. How many people grew up in families where they had to wear the what? The mask. That has to be talked about. Mom and dad, how come you people at church never saw the real you? The Bible. Growing up in a spiritual household, understand that the Bible is a beautiful thing, amen? But the problem is that when you grow up in families where grace isn't preached, but only the law is preached, and scriptures are not used to set people free, but they're used to put you in bondage.
Wow.
That has to be spoken about at the family table.
Yeah.
Now understand this, as I called Daniel up to just help me out with this next part. Understand this, church, that the first step is to put everything on the table. Put everything on the table. And here's the thing. If you're putting everything on the table, that means that your family members that are coming have to not be in denial about what's on the table.
Speak.
Pastor David, they have to be honest about what's on the table. And it doesn't mean that you intentionally meant to hurt someone. But hurt people hurt people.
That's what's up.
And so, step 1, put everything on the table. Everybody say step 2.
Step 2.
Step 2, step 2, step 2. Step 2 is to clear the table. Step 2 is to clear the table. Understand that when you clear the table, it does not mean everything is finished. It does not mean everything is finished. There's more that has to be done. When you clear the table, you have to do a couple of things. Clearing the table means this. Clearing the table means you apologize. It means you will take accountability. And it means that you start the process of forgiveness. Accountability. You know what? I did not mean to do that, but I understand because of my background, because of my family, I hurt you. And an apology. There might be some people here that say, I don't apologize. But understand that in 1 John 1:9, it says, if we confess our sins, he is faithful and he is just to forgive us of our sins. Not only is that a confession, but it is a form of an apology. It's basically David or or Elder Bev or myself saying, God, I apologize for doing this.
Yes.
So if we can do it to God, why can't we do it for each other? When we put everything on the table, step 1. When we clear the table, step 2. We are saying, I take accountability, I apologize, and I'm in the process of forgiveness. But here's the thing, step 1 and step 2 is not enough. After you put everything on the table, after you clear the table, what do you think you do next? Somebody said it. You set the table. Everybody say set the table.
Set the table.
Set the table. Understand that when you set the table, you use forks, you use spoons, and you use knives.
Well,
Come on, somebody say talk about it.
Talk about
Talk about it. Talk about it. Now, when we set the table with our plates, with our forks, and our knives, these represent our tools. Understand that the fork, the knife, the spoon are the appropriate tools for the what?
Table.
The table. Now, you don't see me coming with a pitcher so I can eat my chicken. I come with the right tools. In the same way that these tools are appropriate for the table. Now, as you start to forgive, now that you start to take accountability, you need the appropriate tools for your family. Which means better communication, better boundaries. And so once again, step 1. Step 1, church, is what? We put everything on the table. Step 2, we clear the table. Accountability, forgiveness. Step 3, we set the table. We set the table. And step 4, what do you think we do at step 4? Come on, say, we eat at the table. We eat at the table. My gosh. We eat at the table. Now, when we eat at the table, it doesn't mean that everything is perfect. Even with our best tools, we still mess up. Even with our best tools, our old ways still keep coming out. But at least you're committed to the process. And so I need about 4 volunteers right now to come and sit at the family table. We need 4 volunteers. We have 4 volunteers to come and sit at the family table. Come on up. Oh, actually, we got 5. That's fine. All right. And so at this time, as they sit at the family table, I want to ask them this simple question. Oh, we got, you thought we were talking all the time? No, we got you.
I thought food was coming.
Now, Aaron. So here's my first question. As you sit at the family table, as you think about this sermon, how do you feel just starting out? As you sit at the family table and you think about this sermon and the tools that are needed and everything, how does this make you feel? What are some of the thoughts that come to your head?
I feel underdressed.
You say you feel underdressed? Yeah. Okay. Let me ask you a better question. When you think about the family table, have you, growing up, been able to be open at the family table? Yes. From your own experience? Yes. Aaron says yes. So you can always, so everybody was, you said not really. Now when you say not really, how do you explain?
Yeah, sometimes, you could be a little bit hesitant, knowing that you might be judged, even while sitting at the family table.
Yeah.
I would say sometimes, and I think culture had a role to play in that. Sometimes you become hesitant in wanting to open up to your parents and talk about certain things. So, yeah.
I said yes, but most of the time, the thing is, the table keeps changing.
Mercy.
And the place keeps changing. And I keep having to decipher, who is friendly and who is unfriendly. And code the way I speak to who my audience is.
Wow, did you hear that? Aaron, when you say the table kept changing, was it just everywhere you went, or was it at home that the table even kept changing?
My home kept changing.
So Aaron talks about his home kept changing. Can anybody relate? Can anybody relate to that? Okay. Now, when you say your hope kept changing, this is the last question I have for you. Yeah. Try this one.
Check it.
Yeah.
Well, two things. So first, I had to define home, which was family are the friends that you choose. So that expanded the tables. And number two, and this was last Sunday.
Mercy.
I had to realize that where I thought my heart, where I left my heart at my biological family table, wasn't where it had to stay. And so when somebody pointed that out, because I was having a fellowship at a table with a new brother whom I chose, he said, that doesn't have to be there. And that's the exact second that I metaphorically and spiritually grabbed it back and put it back within me.
Clap it up for Aaron. Clap it up for Aaron at this moment. And Aaron, I just want to say thank you so much for your transparency and vulnerability. There's somebody out there that feels your heart and has been there. So thank you so much, Aaron. Thank you so much, Aaron. Mikey, how does it feel to be at the family table?
Okay. Feels pretty good. You want me to answer kind of like the general question? I'd say that at times when it felt like it was planned, when the family wanted to have family time, it was great. But when real life problems came, people didn't know how to use these same tools for the other issues. It was easy on the Sundays when there wasn't that many problems, but when there was the real problems hit, when the bills hit, when the things hit, when a parent was in between each other, when two people had something going on at the table, it's when it's like, man, ideally, yeah, in the ideal moments, yeah, we know how to use these tools, but in the times when it gets really tough, we forget that they're even there, and they're still at the table, but we just have to use them and do your process. But sometimes we forget when, at least in my experience, it's great when we do the ideal in our head, but not when it's not ideal for us. That's when we forget to even go to the table. We just go wherever we want to go. And so that's what I felt growing up.
That's beautiful, that's beautiful. And last question I have for you guys before you go back down is this. What would it take to feel safe at the family table? What would it take to feel safe at the family table? And this is personal. What would it take for you to feel safe at the family table?
I would say open communication, just being able to talk and not be judged.
Self-acceptance.
Wow.
Be authentic.
Be authentic.
So, be open-minded as the family, to accept one another.
Never forget what the family table's for.
Say that again.
Never forget what the family table's for.
Never forget what the family table is for. My gosh. And so, I just want to thank you guys. This was not easy to do. Clap it up for them. It was not easy to do. Not easy to do at all. And before they go up, I remember growing up in a family where, even though I was going to church and smiling all the time, when we went through a very nasty divorce and I went through hell even in my home, I was looked at as the mediator. So when we came to the family table, while I was supposed to be a child, I was basically taking on the head of the house. And so I had to basically balance this person screaming and this person screaming and this person yelling. And I just felt like I'm just trying to learn how to, just be, And so for me, coming to the family table means that I can be my authentic self and not continue to just play a role. And so with that, thank you guys so much for sitting at the family table, and you're free to have a seat. Clap it up one more time for them. Clap it up one more time for them.
Thank you so much.
And so the call is simple. The sermon was called Welcome to the Family Table. Understand that there's some people here, they're saying, Pastor Gilchrist, I don't have a family. Pastor Gilchrist, when I come to the family table, there are chairs that I see empty. I want to let you know that where you see a deficit, I see opportunity. Understand, I didn't really grow up with a lot of my family members. And so all the people that were part of my family were the ones that were not blood. And so if I go to a church, if I meet people in the community and we grow close, you are my family. And you are always welcome at the table. And so the call is this.
Yes.
If you are willing, number one, to put everything on the table. If you are willing to clear the table. If you are willing to set the table. And if you're willing, Pastor David and church, to finally sit at the table, then I call you up so we can pray for you. We ask that some of the interns come up, as people come up and are looking for prayer, that you know that this is not a place of judgment, but this is a place where you can see family. We ask that you come on up even now. Come on up even now. If you're looking for prayer, you want to sit at the family table, but you're saying, Pastor Gilchrist, I don't even know where to start. Start with step one, putting everything on the table. Then go to step two, clear the table. Then step three, set the table with the right tools, that you can do life differently. And even if others are not willing to heal, please don't stop your healing. Your healing must carry on. We ask that if there's anybody else, feel free to come to the family table. You're welcome here, you're safe here. We ask that even those that are in the audience, you just stand where you are, and put your hands towards the people that have come up. So just stand where you are, and put your hands toward the people that have come up. That they are welcome at the family table. And God sees them and He hears them. There's still room. There's still room for you at the family table. None of our families are perfect. Mine sure wasn't. But I'm here, I'm breathing, and I'm healing. So there's space at the family table.